What's up, everybody? Oh my goodness, let me tell you guys, I almost lost track of time today. How is that? Me almost showing up late for my guests. That is crazy. But anyway, this is your girl Martine Myers. We're here, 8 p.m. EST. The Martine Show is on. We're going to be having Miss Elyse Nicole that's going to be speaking to us today about her self-love journey. Please be sure to embrace her with love. She's very sweet, so I just want to let you guys know that, okay? And those of you who don't know, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 p.m. EST, the Martine Show is on right here at Author Martine Myers handle. And what we do, we talk about self-love, all about self-love journey. It compensates three categories, which is self-awareness, self-development, and everything social. Everything that we discuss comes straight from the guests, okay? And the conversations are intuitive, so it just flows and nothing is rehearsed. The questions are just on the spot, and whatever the guest shares is on the spot, so just be here to receive it as is. We do have Miss Elyse Nicole in the waiting area. Let me try to connect her. Hi, how are you today? Welcome aboard. Thank you for supporting us. Hello, Miss Elyse Nicole.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great. How are you today? How's everything going for today?
It's a good day, very productive.
That's good. That's good.
How was
I was just,
yours? I
I'm good. You know what? I'm super excited, of course. But the thing about it is this. You know, when you get super excited, you get a little sidetracked. Like I almost was late.
I know
I turned around and I was like, it's 8 o'clock. Oh my God.
I know. I was like, you know what? I was pretty much done getting dressed and getting ready, and I was like, let me eat something before it becomes one of those nights where I'm eating almost at 10 o'clock at night. So I was like, let me eat
Oh
something. And then
my
I looked at
goodness.
the time and I was like, oh crap. Let me sit, let me get ready. But it's
Oh,
it's it's
all right.
Thursday, it's the end of the week.
Yes, it is Thursday, that's for sure. And it is the end of the week. So, how's this week been for you, though?
It's, oh my God, this week has been one of those weeks that fortunately enough I get to keep in memory because my daughter, it's a happy day because my daughter actually graduated from high school yesterday. So,
Nice.
yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you. I freaking have an 18-year-old adult and I don't know where the heck that happened, but I do.
Oh, that
So,
is sweet.
it's been one of those weeks running around getting her ready for graduation, picking up whatever last minute stuff she needed, prepping
Hmm.
for the graduation itself, and then being a proud mama who's been emotional like God knows what this whole week.
I could imagine. That is really, really sweet. Congratulations to you and her, and many more blessings. That is
Thank you.
awesome. Awesome. So we're gonna take it from here. You can go on and introduce yourself, and then we're gonna just allow the conversations to flow.
Yes, ma'am. Um, hey guys, my name is Elyse Nicole. I am with the wonderful podcast of Mama's Cocktail Hour, where I'm joined by the founder, Zeta Lisa, also Jasmine, or Jasmine Speaks Life, or Miss Jasmine Louisa, however we like to call her, and Nancy, and Nancy says. We're a crazy, fun group of gals who just want to bring positivity and light and empowerment to not only women, to kids, to men, so that they feel empowered in themselves when they're navigating relationships or around other women and hey, even men. But we are a great podcast that I love being a part of. I'm also a mom of two teenagers.
Mm,
Married. Yeah, I know. The
mm.
face is like I know. Um, like I said, my daughter's 18. My son is 16. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, they'll both be
nice.
17 and 19 this year. It's insane.
Oh,
And I'm married to a wonderful husband. and I'm here in my beautiful new home in Jersey, closer to Zeta, so I can annoy the crap out of her.
Nice. Congratulations on the new home.
Thank you.
That's nice. That's really nice. And one thing I want to say is that all of you guys on the podcast are awesome. I mean, like each and every one of you guys brings something very special. When I do watch some of the videos from the podcast, especially when I see like all four of you guys all together, do you really want to know like what you guys remind me of, like what show?
Go ahead,
You
let us know.
Okay, have you guys ever watched The Real?
Yes,
Okay, you
most
guys
definitely
remind me
watch The
of
Real.
The Real. Okay, and it's like when I see you guys, like I see The Real, but you guys are talking about like real issues that we go through and stuff like that, as opposed to celebrities. But it's similar to The Real, and I think that it's so dope. It
It's an
really is.
ultimate goal of ours. If we could get to a platform where we're, either televised or picked up by a network, because at the end of the day, Mama's Cocktail Hour is a network, whether it be a
Mhm.
network for women, a network for men, a network of empowerment. However, we can utilize that tool and use it on whatever platform we can, we definitely want to. So, hey, if we end up like The Real one day, it's a thing and we've been waiting.
Well, we just spoke it into existence.
That's what we do. We speak it into existence. We put it out there.
Okay, so your specific role at Mama's Cocktail, how would you describe that? We're streaming, guys, so it's a little delayed. Let's see what's going on until it returns. Instagram is acting up a little bit right now. Uh-oh. We lost Miss Elyse Nicole. Let's see if we could get her back. Instagram is acting up at the wrong time. Sorry, guys. The connection just messed up with Instagram. We're going to see if we can get Miss Elyse Nicole back on. I think it may be on her end because I'm still connected. I'm still on. I'm still live, apparently. Sorry, guys. We're actually still connected live and we're waiting for Elyse Nicole to come back. Apparently, she was disconnected. We apologize for the technical difficulties that we're having via Instagram at this current time. Let me try to connect her again. Hi, Miss Zeta, Lisa. How are you? Miss Elyse Nicole was on, and there are some technical difficulties tonight, apparently, on the Instagram streets. So we're trying to reconnect with her. And it was just about to get juicy. So we're still waiting to see if, okay. Thank you, Zeta Lisa. I don't know if maybe it's like a pre-weekend vibe or something. Instagram starts to act up right now on Thursday. So while we're waiting, I was explaining to everyone that I was so super excited about the show tonight that I was almost late to my own show that I host, which is like really crazy funny. Thank you so much, Nancy. Appreciate it. Yes. So Miss Elyse Nicole is trying to get back on. Okay, that we have as a confirmation. So just want to let everybody know. As I was saying, I was almost late tonight to my own show out of being so excited and then almost like past the time. I just happened to look at my phone and was like, oh my God, it's 8 o'clock. What am I waiting for? Thank God I got on right on time. Okay, let's keep our fingers crossed. She's coming back. Yay!
I'm back and I have no idea
What
what the heck
happened?
happened.
Girl, we're in Mercury retrograde, okay?
Is that what it is
So
now?
let it be. You know, technical things are going to happen. Let's not even, go there. So
That's
let
true, right?
let's just leave it. We're back. That's
We're
it.
back.
So
I tried to put things out in the universe, and the universe was like,
so as I was asking you, everybody on the show has a specific role. How would you describe your role?
so I am currently in charge of the merch and making sure that everything is up to date. We're launching some new products, so we're going to get that out there shortly. We're currently looking to do some new things, which I'm not going to put out there yet because it's a little
Sure.
secret. And once we
Mhm.
get that done and going, you guys will definitely be the first to know.
No
Also,
problem.
obviously, co host. Um, I had to take a little bit of kind of like a sabbatical or a step back while I was busy trying to get everything together. Um,
Mhm.
buying a new house is work. Who the hell would have known, right? Um,
Yeah,
but there's always a project. There's always something to do. It's acclimating to the new commute. It's getting everything situated with the house. But it's definitely still co-hosting, doing the merch, uh, some of the content. So we we alternate a lot of things a lot of the time depending on what's going on and who needs to do what. But it's a project and it's a group project nonetheless.
and that's really good. I like that. And you said you're in charge of the merch, which is
Yeah.
awesome. Definitely going to be looking forward to that. For those of you who, before we got cut off, I was actually explaining to her that when I look at the videos for Mama's Cocktail podcast, Mama's Cocktail Hour podcast, it reminds me of the show The Real Talk, right? And she was like, yeah.
We've gotten that before. We've definitely drawn comparisons to what they're doing and how they're very much. I love the feel of their show and how it just feels, even though it's a talk show and they're standing, they're sitting behind their little desk and everything's obviously recorded and for rehearsed to some extent, but
Mhm.
it's it's very much a really chill show and everybody gets along for the most part. They all, and I love the way how in which they interact. So if we get to that status or to that level, it would be phenomenal.
Well, it will be because it's gonna be. just
That's
put it
right.
out there
That's
and
right.
allow it to just flow, because
Yes.
you guys have really good chemistry. It's a beautiful ensemble by all means. Each and every one of you guys have your own personal self-love journey from what I see that you
Yes.
guys talk about all the time. I recently came across a few videos related to alpha females. So I want to ask you your version of alpha female, like how do you personify that?
So an alpha female is that of somebody who takes charge and who knows what they want, and they are not going to stop at anything to make sure that they get there and they achieve whatever goal it is that they have set. Um, I think in some cases, not everybody's an alpha female in every aspect of their life. So, for instance, I feel very much like an alpha female in my home, where I'm the one who's constantly in charge of everything within the home, making sure that everybody doesn't um, gets whatever needs to get done, keeping track of all the appointments, keeping track of where I need to be, where everybody else needs to be. And a lot of the time when I'm at work, especially when I'm at work alone amongst some of the other staff, I feel like I could definitely be an alpha female amongst them. Although I do feel when you're amongst other alpha females, depending on what it is that is getting done, you can also take a step back and allow for somebody else to be an alpha. So you don't always have to be an alpha at all times. It all just depends on who you're around and what it is that you're doing. Some people are better and have more expertise in a certain area than you do. So if that's the case, let them be the alpha and let them shine. So
That's really, really important and so valuable that you actually share the part where you don't always have to step into the alpha zone at all times. Like, it's okay to step back because I'm one of them too. I'm an alpha female as well. Okay. And alpha
yes,
females are people who are like very self-confident.
right,
Okay. And when you start something in terms of a project, let's say, you want to make sure, regardless of whatever the curbs and ups and downs are, you're going to reach your finish line. Okay.
right.
And it's tough road and you're just there, you're persistent, you persevere and everything. So I'm very much that way. But I
Yes,
also had to learn, had to learn in the areas of my life where being an alpha female at times may not be conducive to
right.
whatever it is that's actually going on. Let's say love relationships,
Yeah.
being an alpha female, okay. You could take over that relationship and then he's gonna be
Yeah.
like, yeah, what about me? What do you need me for?
It's well,
In a way.
there's a little bit of a give and take. You can be an alpha female in a relationship. It's just there's nothing in taking a step back and allowing for other people to take charge. You still have the power to be like, I'm stepping back because I feel that you could take charge in this instant and everything still be okay. There
Mhm.
it's You're acknowledging that you're releasing control. Therefore, to some extent, I feel like you still
Yes,
have
I
that
do
control.
understand that. That's extremely important. But at the same time, we as alpha females,
Mm-hmm.
the women, we have to have the courage to be like,
Yeah.
no, it's okay, you got this. Some women in alpha state don't do that. Like, I can speak for myself, my experience, because I come from an alpha female. My mother's an alpha female. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason why she stepped into her alpha mode is because she got married, she had me, and once she had me, unfortunately, my father died, you know? So that was like 3 months I was born, 3 months later, like I was born 3 months later, my father died. So all of a sudden it's like, oh my goodness, she's in this role where she has to be everything and anything. And it
Right.
stayed with her, you know?
and she raised me by herself, you know, with family, of course, but it was just a whole different ballgame because now she's a single mom, you know, and
Right.
she didn't remarry. She didn't, you know, she didn't want to do that or whatever. She just stayed committed to her task, which was me, her responsibility, and that was it. And she just did her own thing in terms of being a woman, going to work and paying the bills. But it was very, she was very strict in a way because of the situation that she fell into.
Mm,
All right.
yeah.
So her alpha has always been high on alert all the time. So,
I get that.
so coming
But
from that, I was like that for a while. And then afterwards, I was just like, just something that's just not right. You know, when you start in these love relationships and you're just like, something is an imbalance, is because I was taking too much control. But
yeah.
that's what I was used to seeing and experiencing also. Okay. So the light bulb came on for me when I was just like, oh, no, 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 no. We got to do something. Something has to change. Like, I like being who I am. That's what I know of. But at the same time, I have too much control. And then you get tired
Yeah.
because it's like you're the one doing it all the time and you put yourself in the position kind of like for the other person to expect you to do because you always take
Yep.
charge all the time. And then it's like, where does the other person stand? Like, you know, I'm here, but I'm not here because you're always taking control, you know, type of thing.
Right.
So have you had situations like that in your marriage?
So to some extent, my mother too. Quintessential alpha female. My mom and my dad split up when I was about 10. So it was me and my three sisters. I'm always surrounded by women. Me and my two sisters,
Mm-hmm.
it's the three of us, I should say. Me and my two sisters, the three of us, and my mom. And she basically the same thing, take charge kind of a woman, working at times 2 and 3 jobs, some of which I've actually went to and helped her with while I was growing up. She essentially set the precedence of definitely be a take charge woman. Never rely on a man to take care of
Yes.
you. You always
Mm-hmm.
have to be able to take care of yourself. So when I ended up in the predicament where I had 2 toddlers and I too was a single mom, it was that's it. We don't play games. I've worked since I was 12. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the first job that you can have as a 12-year-old as a babysitter. So it was get your ass, get your ass to work, do what it is that you got to do for those kids. My mom made it a point to say, you have 2 toddlers, you're by yourself. I'm going to help you when needed in terms of you going to work, possibly you needing a babysitter. But at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, you're going to raise those kids and you're going to do it the way how, not necessarily the way how I did it, but you're going to stand on your own 2 feet on your own so that you don't have to depend on anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So when my husband, who's just not, he's not biologically, and I hate saying this because he's been there since they were, um, my son 2 and my daughter 3, he's been
Mm-hmm.
there since they were young. But when he came into the picture, I was very much still in, I got to make sure I have my shit together. If you're
Mm-hmm.
coming into the picture, and it was a very slow transition into the picture because
Mm-hmm.
he and I dated long distance for a while. He didn't meet my kids until we met almost 6 months later after dating, because everything was through the good old internet back in the day when MySpace was still a thing.
Oh,
Um,
MySpace! Oh
yeah.
my
He and I go back to MySpace days. Um,
Sweet.
yeah. So he slowly transitioned into the mix, and I was still very much the leader of the household. But he transitioned in a way where he just blended in, became the dad to my children because the
Awesome.
their father is
Yeah.
basically non-existent,
Mm-hmm.
and he came in, became that for them, assumed the role of a dad and what a dad is, and essentially became my partner in everything. I will admit at times, because he is, I shouldn't say a traditional Puerto Rican man, because he's still not that. But when you think of a Puerto Rican man, you know, there's very much, I'm going to be the man. I'm going to be the provider. You can do what you need to do, but at the end of the day, I'm going to provide for you. But I'm still me. And I have questions, and I like to still somehow be, you know, in the mix and have some control over what's going on. And as you know, at times, hey, he and I have been together 13 and a half years now. So at times, you know, there's going to be times where there's the power struggle, or you're emasculating me and da 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 da. And it happens, but we have a relationship where no matter what, we always still come back to where I respect you, you respect me, we're good. We had a moment. Let's get past that moment and we're good.
That's awesome.
There's a little bit of a give and take still.
That's great. Well, girl, congratulations on getting yourself an alpha male, because that's what you got. It's a perfect match. Okay.
He's an alpha male with more modern tendencies. He doesn't
That's
have to
fine.
do everything all the time.
That's fine. But he's in the alpha zone for sure. Okay.
Yeah, he definitely bends to me when need be, but he's not like, oh, you ain't doing nothing.
And you know what? That's what most women strive for. So
yeah.
You got that. And that's awesome.
I gotta be a keeper.
Yes, for sure. For sure. And blessings upon blessings with him taking a responsibility to father your children, because that is huge. And I will commend any man that actually does that. You know, it's huge responsibility.
It is. And I did not take that lightly. I distinctly remember having a conversation with him when we first started dating. I was in my car driving to the store, and at that time we were 24. And I told him, I'm 38 now. Well, I'll be 38 next month. But I remember telling him, I know you're 24 years old. 24-year-old men don't take on another woman's toddler children. They go about, you know, their lives the way how 24-year-old men do. And I think, so if you can hear me.
Let's keep our fingers crossed. Instagram is acting up. Okay, we're back.
We're back. But I had that conversation where I was like, you're a 24-year-old man. If you want out, this is your out. No hard feelings, by all means. You can leave. I won't feel away. If you decide you want to stay, awesome. And I would love for you to stay. But if you don't want to, you can go. And hell, he stood.
Let me tell you something. You know what you just did? That is the most powerful thing a woman can ever do. It's just to be honest, not only with him, but with herself.
Yeah.
Okay. You put it straight out from the very beginning. Like, this is how it is. Okay. I'm presenting it to you. You could take it or leave it, but no hard feelings. And I believe this is what's the missing link in a lot of relationships. A lot of connections have that missing link, because, you know, we're so stuck. A lot of us are so stuck on our personal desires, our wants, as opposed to what is necessary, what is most needed, you know. And when you're stuck on the desire, at times, you just like either mimic or lose the whole picture of what is so. And it becomes let's say like a damper on the relationship, because there are a lot of relationships that can become very valuable. Have you just be yourself, be honest about what is really going on, you know, because we have wants and needs. But if you can't put them together and be like, yeah, this is what I want, but I know this is what I need, and this is what's going to work out better for me, that if you can't highlight it that way, you have an issue. And you're going to be misleading
Right.
this person. You're going to be misleading this person. And that person is going to act a certain way with you where you're going to be disappointed, but you don't understand. Like, you steer them wrong from the beginning. It's not
Exactly.
their fault. Okay?
Exactly.
And, when I say stuff like that, there are a lot of women, like I say, if you're not an alpha female, you're not really going to get it. You're going to be mad at me for
Right.
saying it. But we get it because we not only think for ourselves, but we think for the other person also. And that's
Yeah.
one characteristic of an alpha female that I appreciate a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. We are not just selfish to the point where it's all about us. Okay.
Right.
We think about the man. We think about the other person that's in the relationship, in the connection, because I'm always thinking in terms of like, what if the shoe was turned around, or if it,
Right.
it was me? How would I feel?
Yep.
Now think about it. Had
Yeah.
you not communicated with him that way, had you been in his shoes, giving
Yep.
all of yourself, and then to the point to realize and say, like, you know what, oh my God, do I really have to follow these kids? Like, do I have to really take that on? Like, I really don't want to do that. Like, how would you feel?
I know, it's true. And the thing is, all you're doing at the end of the day was being honest and setting an expectation. It's nothing that is, you're not taking something from that person if you tell them, listen, this is the honest truth. This is what the situation is. If you want to be around for it, great. If you don't, no big deal. This life isn't for everybody, and it's
Yeah.
not. And especially at that time in a person's life. Hell, 24-year-olds are typically just right out of college. And they're
Yes.
still busy trying to figure out their life and what it is that they're doing or want to do. Hell, I
Yeah.
feel like I'm still trying to figure out what it is that I want to do, and I'm freaking damn near 38. So, especially when I spent the majority of my young adulthood being a mom and being a parent.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like you essentially take the back burner. So no matter what, you still have to allow for other people to figure out what their purpose is, or just keep them alive. So it's you have to some extent take stock of what it is that's important. So if that means making sure that somebody else is given all the information and all the the basically, like I said, just all the information they need to make an informed decision about how they want to move forward with their life, it's nothing off your back to do.
Right.
It's simple. Hell,
We
I think
have,
better earlier on than later on when everybody's invested.
the earlier the better. The earlier the better. We have Mr. Ranch Turner. Welcome aboard. He's saying more women need to have that attitude. And that's true.
And not everybody will have that attitude. And for me, at that age, I was 24, because he and I are the same age. Not everybody's going to have that attitude. At the age of 24, most women are still selfish. They're worried about their agenda, not necessarily the agenda of anybody else. But for me, I had to worry about myself, his feelings, and the feelings of my children. If I brought him into the mix and got them invested in a person who didn't know or wasn't given the opportunity to back out of a situation like mine, he wasn't going to be the only one hurt. I wasn't going to be the only one hurt. They would be. So at 24 with 2 kids, you have to kind of like grow up or at least start to think like an adult.
I agree. And the thing about it also is that like there's another thing when it comes to alpha females. A lot of us are very mature because a lot of us have either gone through stuff or watched someone before us gone through stuff, like a family member. It could be our mother or auntie or cousin, but we have become part of a struggle. And because we have become part of the struggle, then we have grown up. We're basically old souls, in a way.
Yeah.
So we have grown up to a point where we have taken a lot of responsibility and we become highly accountable very early, and we understand things at a higher magnitude in terms of adulthood, right?
Yeah.
So now when you meet a man, not to necessarily say an alpha male, because you don't always need an alpha male, but as an alpha female, what happens is that when you meet another male and you're already at that point where that responsibility and accountability is like 100, you're on point. There are times like, how is it that you find yourself? I don't know if I'm asking the question properly, but how is it that you find yourself co-partnering with that male? Because sometimes that male emotionally, mentally, spiritually may not be at the same capacity as the alpha female. Do you get what I'm saying?
Right. I think it all depends on the situation. So I guess in the sense where, like in my case, a man who's just coming into a situation where I'm the alpha female. Um, you look for certain qualities because they're gonna mess up at some point, especially when you have two toddler children and they haven't been a parent and they weren't there necessarily through the whole process of prepping to be a parent. Because
Mm-hmm.
you have 9 months, you're there typically with, hopefully, with whoever it is that you've impregnated at that point. You are both necessarily prepping at that time to become parents. So at the very least, you guys are on the same playing field in terms of
Mm-hmm.
learning and experiencing and doing whatever it is that you need to do as parents. But when somebody is now starting to transition into the mix, there's obviously going to be a learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to, at the very least, look for qualities that are essential to be a parent, whether it be that they're nurturing, that they're patient, that they're compassionate, that they, at the very least, have a good background, so that if nothing else, you've made sure you've had yourself a man who is worth having around to begin with, that they're somehow established, whether it be that they're, you know, finishing school, on their way into work, they have a strong foundation for themselves, so
Yes.
that they can essentially parent somebody else. Um, so at least making sure that some of those little characteristics or mannerisms are there, so that when they're transitioning into being your partner and essentially helping you raise those kids, they at least have those characteristics there. They see, in my husband's case, he came in and he essentially started more like a friend to the kids,
Awesome.
so that he could build their trust. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I'm gonna come in and be your dad,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna tell you what it is that you need to do, and
Mm-hmm.
essentially be your dad and raise you. Because, to be honest, that's not going to win over a kid. Even
No,
as
it
young
doesn't
as
work.
my kids
Mm-hmm.
were basically about 2 or 3 when he first came in.
Mm-hmm.
So it was more so him actually establishing a relationship with them, as opposed to assuming a parental role. He left the parental role for me at that point,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the beginning, because he can't be their parent. He can be respectful, he can guide them, but he couldn't be their parent at that point.
Right.
Him being a parent came later on down the line, when he actually established that trust. Never throughout the relationship, especially throughout the first few years of it, did we ever force them to be like, I'm your dad, I'm this, you
Mm-hmm.
should call me dad, you should do this. It was, when you're comfortable, you can call me dad. And to this day, to be honest, they still don't call him dad. They actually created basically like a term of endearment for him, in the sense where my husband coincidentally has the same name as my son.
Okay.
So so they they would call him, my son's name is Justin, as
Mm-hmm.
is my husband. They would call him Big Justin.
Aw.
And as a way to distinguish who it was that we were talking about, whether it be my son or whether it be him. But now to everybody, whenever they're speaking about him, it's like my dad. But
Hmm.
because they've called him Big Justin for so long, since they were babies, it's his Big Justin.
That
So
is so sweet.
yeah,
I love this.
they refer to him as dad. They refer to
Yeah.
him. They refer as, everybody within his side of the family, because obviously they weren't around too when they were babies growing up. But they
Mm-hmm.
refer to everybody on his side of the family as my aunt, my grandfather, my uncle,
Mm-hmm.
everybody who is a part of his side of the family. Everybody has the same roles that they would any other family member when referring to anybody else. But
Mm-hmm.
he just has the name of Big Justin because that's what they've called him for so long. It's kind of hard
Yeah.
for them to call him anything else.
But you know what? That's perfectly fine. And the
Right.
beauty of this is that it's like he's a winner twice with them because he has a solid friendship
Yeah.
that will never go away with them. And
Absolutely not.
that friendship is intertwined with a load of respect.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And
Yes.
I can tell there's certain, like, I find it funny because even though he's not biologically the father of my children, there are so many characteristics of both my kids and him that are
Mm-hmm.
the same. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
tell him that at the times that when him and my daughter used to butt heads, I used to be like, that's because you're the same freaking people. They are so alike in so many ways. They share a lot of the same personality traits, a lot of the same hobbies, and it's funny that it just worked out that way, but it did. And it's like he might as well have created them because they're just like him.
This is so beautiful. You know, a lot of that what we're talking about is like things that are innate. This was very
Mm-hmm.
destined. And
Right.
it happened just the way it was supposed to happen. And that's a
I
blessing
agree.
within itself.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Definitely
That
is.
is so crazy though. I just so love this. Like you give me the chills. You really do. Love this. This is beautiful. This is so beautiful. I do have a guy friend who
Mm-hmm.
basically ended up in a similar situation as you, where he started dating someone. Well, he wanted a kid very badly, and everybody that he was with, for some reason, it just wouldn't work out, you know?
Right.
He was never married. He was married before, and then he got divorced, and then he was just dating. And everybody else that he would meet, it's like every time he would say he would like to have a child, it just it just was not working out. Like the chemistry just didn't go his way.
Wow.
And then finally he met someone who had a child. I think the child probably was like 5 months at the time. And so he went and ended up like your situation, fathering the child, you know, after a while of dating. And then that's through that he ended up getting married to this woman and then having his kid. So he has two daughters. So the first child is his wife's and the second child is his. But the
That's
thing
Elyse.
about it is you cannot even tell. And the relationship that he has with the first daughter, you
Mm-hmm.
would think that that was his kid.
That's
I
awesome.
mean, they're so close. It's just incredibly amazing, you know, to the point that he legally filed for her, you know, to be the father because the father's always been absent anyway,
Yeah.
you know, and everything. So it all worked out. And that's another innate situation. So those things, you know, there are some people who may not think that those things exist or they don't work. They
Mm-hmm.
actually really do.
They do. Not everybody initially forms their family the traditional way. You know, girl meets guy, guy meets girl, they have a baby, they make a family, they build a home. It doesn't necessarily always work that way. In this
Mhm.
case, for him, it was he he met a girl who was already a preset family, and then
Mm-hmm.
they joined together and they created their own, and that's freaking phenomenal that he would take this other person's kid and make them his own.
Mm-hmm.
So I think blessings happen in ways that not you don't necessarily think they always do, but they happen in their own time.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Just in time, people. Happening in the old time, which is divine timing,
Yep.
which other people do not understand. Like a lot of people don't understand about divine timing because, when you say divine timing, people are so like pressed, like it has to happen now, today, or
Right.
tomorrow, like within this hour, or it
It's true.
doesn't happen that way.
I've definitely learned the practice of patience because not everything, like you said, happens when you want it to happen. Maybe it's just not your time for it to happen. You may think you're ready for it, but you're not. But certain things just happen whenever it is that they're supposed to happen.
And what about the lessons that come in between you going through the experience of that divine timing to get to the ultimate victory? There are a lot of
Listen,
things we have to face.
I faced my fair share of bullshit before I got to where I was today. So
Thank you for letting us know because this is the truth, people.
listen, I've seen it and other, like you said, like you see other people's journeys. I saw my mom's journey, and I took away lessons, and as far as what I didn't want, what I did, or what I do want, I went through my own share of freaking frogs before I got a prince. And I hate using that terminology because we're not freaking royalty. Nobody really has a prince. Nobody really has a princess. Life isn't perfect that way. You go through crap. You go through ups and downs. You go through failed relationships, some great that just don't work out for whatever reason, some bad, some really, really ugly crap. And at the very least, you're supposed to take a lesson from it, whatever that may be, and learn from it so that when the time does present itself, it's not a slam door in the face.
Absolutely.
Shit, I met my husband prior to me starting dating him, and I didn't even realize that I had met him. But my sister and my husband worked together at Blockbuster when Blockbuster was still open. They worked together. I one day was coming home from God knows where, and I had the baby with me and with my stroller. And he offered to bring my stroller up into the apartment. And I still don't remember that. And I don't remember him meeting him at that point. And I told him, he's like, when I met him on Facebook, or when I saw him on Facebook, I looked at him and I was like, do I know you? I sent him a message on Facebook, like, do I know you? And he's like, yeah, I carried your stroller up in your apartment one day. I was like, oh. At that point, I didn't even, I didn't pay him no never mind. It was what it was. I wasn't in a place to pay him attention at that point. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love it. I really love it. Nancy's saying every love story is unique. Yes, it's true.
Yep.
And you know what? I'm glad we're talking about this here today because the thing about it is this, and this is even for alpha females too. Being that we're so, like, some of us are just so, let's say, wanting to everything be perfect sometimes.
Yeah.
He has to be yay high. He has to have this complexion. He has to have this eyes. He has to have this type of hair. You understand what I'm saying? He has to be in this profession. Like, that's what a lot of women do.
Yep.
And there are times where you're going to meet, like, just a regular person down the block, like basically what happened to you, not knowing that was your person.
Right.
That's your husband.
You could probably cross paths with your person a million times over.
Exactly. And do you know how many times people have crossed through the person that was sent to them and they bypass that person because in their mind they don't think that's their person. Meanwhile, God, the universe is saying, source is like, this is what I'm sending you. This is what you got. And then you're like, nah, nah, nah. That's not my guy. Nah.
Listen, I get the whole alpha female mentality that you kind of have a certain checklist. Although I believe that obviously there has to be certain things that are non-negotiables. I think you're okay to break certain things on that list.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't always have to check off everything on that list. Hell, you'll be there. Is everything that important? Not every one of those characteristics or needs and wants on that list are that important.
Mm-hmm.
I think certain people are just like, you need to have this great physique. You need to have, whatever your preferences in terms of looks or whatever the case is. Sometimes it's just not that simple.
Right.
I think certain characteristics make somebody else look a lot better looking than what they really could be, but it all just depends.
But at the same time, there are males who do the same thing about women too. Everything got to be so very perfect. Meanwhile, it's like, you're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Why your expectations is to be perfect?
Nope.
It cannot be that way. And then
I get you want to strive for the best. I get that. But if you're looking for perfection, what are you bringing to the table? Are you bringing that same perfection to the table that you want that? Or is it that you want a trophy wife?
Yeah.
So that you could brag about the fact that you got a certain person.
True. But then at the same time, what's more perfect than having somebody who is there for you as a family, cherishes your children, and gives you the utmost respect?
Yep.
What's more perfect than that?
Right. As simple as that sounds, it's not always that simple for some people. But what you just said is essentially the basics as to what I believe should be at the core of every relationship.
And at the end of the day, that's what you got. And it worked. It worked.
Yep. And it's not without, struggle, because hell, if you're with somebody for 13 years and you don't struggle once, that's a little weird. But it's making sure that you're with somebody that is going to struggle with you and you want to struggle with.
Yeah. And the thing about it, you're always going to be tested in relationships. There's always going to be a test. You're always going to go through a point where it's like you have to personify for yourself, is this really worth, the whole journey? Because at the end of the day, it's the journey. It's not even the destination. It's the journey.
Right.
What are you picking up from the journey? What have you learned from the journey? From the time that you got into your relationship, got married and everything, and then now you see your life, like what's your takeaway?
It's definitely all worth it, because at this point I feel like we've gone through a lot. We've been through God knows how many things together, births, life, death, being broke, being struggling as far as with things in the household, people going through their own issues. We have teenagers, so teenagers go through crap as they grow up. Dealing with all the life day-to-day stuff, and sitting here for and especially now in our new home, and being able to sit back and just say, this is the life that we've created for ourselves, and yet there's still so much more to accomplish. And knowing that the person that you're going to do it with wants to be there just as much as you do makes it so much worth it.
Yes.
We've been through a lot, but we know that we can go through a lot and still weather the storm and still be there when all the shit has passed.
That's crazy awesome. And that's what brings value to the connection.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, 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 wow. So this conversation is so deep. I'm so in love with it. Oh my God, I could talk about this like forever. Let me ask
Yeah.
anybody in the chat room, do you guys have any questions for Miss Elyse Nicole, please, before we leave? Because this conversation is just so beautiful. Her self-love journey is all about her relationship and how basically it all started,
Mhm.
and where she ended up right now. And the whole entire journey is just so significant. And it's significant to the point where she allowed her universe to just play for her.
Yeah.
And I think that's so beautiful because many of us don't allow that. A lot of us are in control and want to be in control of everything and anything. And
Yeah.
many things don't work for many of us because we refuse to relinquish control.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of my life choices were based on feeling in terms of like I feel I'm very much that of an empath. I I feel other people's emotions very heavily. I can walk into a room and feel when things are heavy or when things are light or when things are fun. So a lot of my life choices are based on feeling, if nothing else. Because, all the facts could be there, or, but if for whatever reason something doesn't feel right, you got to go with your gut. And a lot of the life choices that I've made are based just on that. Hell, starting Mamas with Zeta based on my gut. And the fact that Zeta is another person who I feel is very much empathic as well. Um, she puts out vibes that are like she said, she had a vision for Mama. She wanted it to happen. She was awesome enough to invite me along to begin with.
Mhm.
Um, she saw something, and she too knew that this could be a journey that was great. Brought me along with it, and feeling her energy and knowing that this was a journey that we could go on and it potentially become something great, and that's still at this point obviously growing. I was like, she's definitely empathic. I could feel her energy. This is going to be great. Jasmine comes along, Nancy comes along. You get vibes, and the fact that you have vibes and you're able to see your vibes take fruition, it's awesome.
Girl, you just lit my whole life up right here. Because truthfully speaking, I mean, you're speaking my world. Like everything that you just said, what you did from a long time ago is give yourself permission to feel, which is the most difficult thing to allow oneself to do because it puts you in the area of vulnerability. And most people don't not want to be vulnerable because it can hurt by all means. And talking about gut feeling is something that I talk about and pretty much practice like all the time. Everything that I do, the people that I invite on the show, it's gut feeling. All you ladies are
Your
here
gut is great.
because intuitively, like you guys responded to me, I responded to you guys, and I've been following you guys on Instagram, and here we are. And we gotta let everybody know, like, I don't know her. We met on Instagram streets, okay? And it turned out to be really good. So I appreciate you highlighting on um empathy, because empathy matters by all means. And it's something that we all need to understand and really appreciate, at this point. And right now, this year, if anyone understood anything about, not even this year, 2020, if anybody understood what 2020 was all about, oh my God, we just lost Elyse Nicole again with Instagram is acting up tonight. You're back. Oh my God, Instagram is tripping. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna
Instagram's
tell
such
you
a
something.
hater.
No, let me tell you something. When you're talking about something really heated, Like that is prone for everybody to really get into. Like this is the vibe right now. Instagram be acting up, and it's also Mercury retrograde. So
It would
okay,
be when I'm on your. It would be when I'm on
you
your
know what I'm
platform
saying?
that Mercury
It
retrograde is acting
happens.
up.
It's deep. But like I said, empathy matters. So I'm glad that you highlighted on empathy. I'm glad that you spoke about gut feelings. I'm glad that you really put yourself out there to really let people know that everything that you did is because you relinquished control, and it was all because of divine timing. And that's where your blessing was. So anybody who's pretty much watching or gonna be watching, by all means, patience is everything. Okay.
Yeah.
Whether we like it, we don't like it, you got to be patient. You know what I mean? You really have to be patient. And
I agree.
sometimes divine timing at times is not, that's one thing I have to say when it comes to divine timing. There's divine timing in the physical world, and you have divine timing in the spiritual world. So physical world is 3D, and you have 5D, which is the spiritual world. The spiritual world apparently moves a bit faster than the physical world a lot of times. Because you
Yeah.
could be divine timing and it's like 3 years, okay? And your blessing comes within that 3 years or after that 3 years.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? In the physical world. So it's just, you got to be patient, and you have to be committed to your journey. See,
Yes.
you were committed to your journey, and that's how you got to the victory, which is the end point. And you were able to experience your destination in that journey. That's why now you're a homeowner with your husband and the family. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it does work by all means, and you're a perfect example to highlight that on. I mean, I just love your self-love journey for real. It's just so on point and so amazing,
Thank
you
you.
know. And you definitely should pat yourself on the back for that, because what you did is very courageous. It's very courageous. And
Thank you.
what you receive because of that is beyond like anything that we could wish for. They could have given you $1 million. And it's okay, it's great to have that money, but that peace, harmony, and happiness that you have within you, that wouldn't bring you that. You wouldn't be able to buy that.
Although, if it did bring me that along with that, I'd be happy to take it. But
Absolutely. Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't?
but at the end of the day, I crave peace and I crave
Yes.
happiness. So when that's out of line and out of balance, I'm a hot mess. So I'll take peace and balance any day before money.
Right. So definitely she's intertwining peace, love, harmony, in her home with her husband and her children, which is so freaking awesome. So at this point, 9:03, we're gonna end the show because I could talk for like days.
And you're so easy to talk to.
I appreciate that. I thank you. So many people have come on the show, have said that. I love to talk to people, number one. I love to connect and engage. And my my mind, the way that I am, my whole composite is to find like-minded people. And I'm glad I connected with you ladies, because we're definitely on the same wavelength. It's a beautiful connection. Definitely looking forward to connecting more with you all. I was invited on the show, so I will
Yes.
be looking forward to come through. Yes, Zeta
And
Lisa
we'll
did
hold you
tell
to
me.
it.
I'll definitely be looking forward to that as well, to schedule that with you all. But thanks again for giving us your time.
Thanks
In the
for
midst of all the
allowing me.
transition, you know, you're so welcome. In the midst of all the transition, because you just got a new home, you're establishing with the kids, and and you're like, oh, I'm gonna do this interview. Okay.
Yeah. I was like, why the hell not?
Awesome, awesome. So on that note, I will leave you with grace and blessings to continue on your self-love journey, and definitely open the invitation for you to come back in a few months, and next 3 months, give us an update how you're doing with the new home and everything else, so that we could have a new conversation on self-love.
Yes, ma'am, most definitely.
All right. So on that note, good night. Thank you all for being in attendance. Everybody in the chat room, you guys were all on fire. Thank you. So have a good night, and we'll see each other again next week. Take care.
Good night. Bye bye.
Good night. Bye-bye.